the question that keeps coming to my mind is, why would he come to the Warriors? And there's only one reason that we know of, and that is Steph Curry. He said he wants to play with Steph Curry. But he played with Steph in the Olympics.
And they won.
They did. And he's played with Steph in All-Star games. So I wonder, does he really mean I want to play with Steph for a whole season? Maybe he does. But I can't think of another reason why other than Steph Curry. If the Warriors, if it's announced today that LeBron's coming to the Warriors, he's coming to the Warriors for one reason, to play with Steph Curry. To end his career. What could be the other, or Draymond Green to a lesser degree?
Well, I don't think it's just them. I think it's the comfortability. I think it's the Warriors are going to allow him to do what he wants and maybe end his career the way he wants. I don't know if it's a tour. It sounds like he might be staying in Los Angeles no matter where he plays. Maybe it's commuting back and forth to the Bay Area. Steve Kerr, I think, also being a head coach plays a role in this because
yeah, I think so.
He's a champion. He's played under him before, and he's familiar with him. As much as I'd love to believe LeBron could probably play for anybody, does he really want to go play for Kenny Atkinson after he just saw what happened? I don't know. It's like I think that there are only a few coaches also that could handle LeBron James.
That's probably true.
And Steve Kerr's one of them. So I think that matters as well. I think that there's a sweet spot that the Warriors offer that other teams don't. I am surprised that on the list of three that there's not a fourth and that team isn't the Clippers because he wouldn't have to go anywhere. I think they're looking to clear space, it feels like. Bogdanovich just signed with the Houston Rockets this morning. Who's the other guy they tendered? Nick Batum. They are kind of moving things around quietly. And I don't know if it's for LeBron. Maybe it's for making a run at Jaylen Brown. They got off Kawhi, so maybe they don't want an older superstar, but they could make a run at someone else. I'm not too sure. But, again, LeBron going to Cleveland is a storybook ending, but coming to Golden State, I think is a much more comfortable ending for him.
Yeah,
Plus, I do think it's notable that Windhorse is saying
true.
They've had no contact with him, essentially. Like every day this goes on, what do you think the percentage or the chances of LeBron becoming a Warrior do? Do they go up or down?
I think they go down, believe it or not. I think they go down because he tells the Lakers he's not coming back. And then we hear a report that he tells his agent, go call everybody. So Rich Paul probably has been calling everybody because they knew he was going to leave. But, there's probably 6-8 teams that say, no, Rich, we love LeBron. Okay, well, what are you willing to do? Well, what do you mean, what are we willing to do? Well, are you willing to clear some cap space to give him more than $15 million? What if he finds a team that can find 30 for him?
I mean, I think that matters.
I do too.
$15 million is $15 million.
Right.
Especially if you're not going to, as much as I'd love to believe he could help the Warriors, I think he's not an idiot. He's not saying that he's going to catapult them back into a top four spot in the West. I mean, that's the other thing too is, and why I understand why a lot of people believe he's going back to the East is, at the end of the day, the top of the West is not changing. It's San Antonio and OKC. If you want to throw Denver in there, I'll hear you. Maybe a team like the Lakers revamped. They have a place in the top four again. Houston is probably still going to be pretty good. Minnesota, maybe with LaMelo, figures it out. And then there's some teams that are also hoping to get better. Portland, Utah. There's some tough teams in the West. Maybe Phoenix is a location that's on the West Coast that, I'm not exactly sure what their cap situation is, but LeBron could be eyeing with Devin Booker. I don't know how he'd fit with Dylan Brooks, one of his best friends, but, yeah,
that's right.
Like the Western Conference is a bear.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right, 888-957-9570 is the number. I got a bunch of questions to throw at Warrior fans. After what's happened the last 2 days, does it mean what will it mean if LeBron doesn't come here? I mean, what's everybody going to say if LeBron doesn't come here? And then is there any longer term significance if LeBron does come here? What would that mean? Would it just be an outlier that LeBron wants to play with Steph? Will it say the Warriors are still in business in terms of being a contender? What does it mean basketball-wise? What does it mean for what the home games are going to look like at Chase Center? They're going to introduce LeBron last? LeBron's going to do that thing with the powder here at Chase?
Probably.
He's going to get Bob Fitzgerald all powdery-headed?
I mean, he's always done it. It's just been a different jersey. So remember when he was it over Turioff hit his first game winner?
Yeah.
So he's got some history with the Warriors.
He does. All right. 888-957-9570. The one thing I want to do is I don't have it. I'm not going to say it. I don't have this story up now. NBA free agency.
How can I help you?
Well, I just want to go down the list and tell some fans who's off the board, who's on the board. All right. LeBron James is still on the board, obviously. Walker Kessler's off the board. James Harden's still a free agent. Wiggins is off the board. Here's a restricted free agent, kind of interesting. Tari Eason.
I like Tari Eason. He does not seem like a Warrior to me.
What about Hachimura?
Steve Kerr player. Hachimura is interesting.
God, I'm looking at their team and they got, Green.
Well, he doesn't have a place on the Lakers anymore.
Green, Lendeborg, Horford, Porzingis, Santos. I mean, geez, they got a lot of front court guys. John Collins is going to the Pistons. Quentin Grimes is going to the Lakers. Who else is out there? Norman Powell is signed with the Bulls, so he's off the board. Colin Sexton's with the Lakers. Here are two guys. Here are two names. Anthony Simons, Benedict Mathurin.
Well, Mathurin, and maybe it's tied to whether the Clippers make a run at LeBron or not, or some other big player, but I think that Mathurin's a guy that they could use in a sign and trade. They could decide just to keep him. I find it difficult to believe that they made the Zubats trade just for that top 5 pick, which they didn't even know was going to be a top 5 pick when they got it.
Right.
So I think Mathurin was a centerpiece of that deal. And, it's interesting. Do you feel like the Clippers are kind of doing what a lot of Warriors fans want the Warriors to do?
Which is like do more to make a run at Steph or just to get younger.
365 days ago, This team was Kawhi Leonard and James Harden's.
Yes.
And now they have, don't get me wrong, they're in that scenario because they gave everything away in one of the worst deals in recent memory. But they now have recouped, I believe it's 4 first-round picks, one of which they used on Wagler. And they have Garland, Mathurin, Ingram, may be able to entice LeBron to come there. They're not a great team by any means, but their future is not as bleak as it was last summer. I mean, they have done a pretty quick 180 on this thing.
Yeah. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco and Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app and now broadcasting from the Laughing Monk Studios.
You didn't say Duran.
I didn't. He's restricted.
Is it because there's just an assumption that
yes,
he's going to sack?
Well, no, that it's going to be too difficult to get him.
Too expensive or?
Yeah, too expensive. But here's the one thing about the Clippers, and I was talking to Bonte about this yesterday. And this is, like I said, this clearly must be the difference between Steph Curry, a 4-time NBA champion who's played with one team his entire career. And then you go look down at L.A., and it's like, yes, Kawhi's an NBA champion, but he's not a Clipper, a Clipper. James Harden wasn't a Clipper. Zubats, I guess he played his whole career there, but he hadn't built up a huge track record.
Yeah.
The reality of the situation is, the more I think about it, is the Warriors were never going to do that. They're never going to go that dramatically that young because Steph Curry means more to the Warriors than virtually any player means to their particular team. And, I do think it's easier. You got a guy like Kawhi who's been on a bunch of teams. You've got a guy like Harden who's been on a bunch of teams. I think it makes it easier for the Clippers to say, let's move these guys. It's not easy to say, let's move Steph. It's a huge conversation.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I don't think they were ever interested in it, but I think the idea of, the Clippers could have kept Kawhi if they wanted to.
Right.
This idea of, again, just trying to get younger. And look, the Warriors, the moment they made Steve Kerr head coach for another couple seasons, maybe that was an indication that they're not ready to do that. It does feel like that domino, the first one to fall this offseason, has so far dictated pretty much everything they've done, right? They've brought back Horford, re-signed Porzingis, Melton's back on a 2-year deal as of today. LeBron looks like he's in the fold. Really, the only thing they've done is use that 11th overall pick and take Lindeborg, who just happened to be the oldest player in the draft. I mean, I'm just, I don't know. Actions speak louder than the words, Steiny, and it doesn't seem like the Warriors are quite ready yet.
No. But let me ask, if we could say LeBron James's name is Harry Smith.
He's a hell of a player.
Okay, here's my question. I have 2 questions. Why do the Warriors want LeBron James?
To get better, I think. And because they can. I mean, there's a lot else.
Yeah, no,
Well, are you saying it's just because of the entertainment value? I think
that's a big part of it.
Well, yeah, it is. But I think at the end of the day, if LeBron James was a player that averaged, if this was LeBron's last season and last year he averaged, 12 points and 6 rebounds and played 20 minutes a night, you still think they'd be after him just because his name is LeBron James?
I do think, no. I mean, look, you drop LeBron James on this roster, they're better. So that's the end of the discussion. Really, if you're trying to get better as a basketball team. Yeah, we want LeBron because he's the best available free agent that we could get with a mid-level exception. That is very logical. But given where this team is right now, it just makes me, that's not the reasons they're doing it, though, I guess is what I'm saying. That's an offshoot of making this move, that you're going to get better. The real reason you're making the move is to try to pave over what looks like it's going to be a really rough road next year. And listen, you're probably listening to me right now saying, yeah, these are all the reasons. And I get all the reasons, but what it does mean to me is they're not going to move forward. They're not going to move forward now for another year or 2.
Well, Steve Kerr's talked about aging with grace a lot the last couple of years.
Right.
Do you think this contributes to that?
I mean, what does aging with grace mean? You either have it or you don't.
Well, not
NBA.
Going out kicking and screaming. I don't know. Which is something that I felt like certainly Draymond was on the path to be doing before last year. And kept it under control. I think the Warriors, best case scenario.
Yes.
They get LeBron, season tickets skyrocket, Chase Center sold out, and what happens on the court? I think it's safe to assume that if LeBron's wearing a Warriors uniform next year, that there's going to be infinitely more interest in the team than if they use their mid-level exception on Anthony Simons. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so...
I mean, there's no doubt. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
But on the court, what does that look like?
Okay, what if I would just take a hard line stance here? You ready?
Yeah.
They won't make it through the year. They literally will not be able to make it through the year.
I asked you what the best case scenario.
Oh, best. I'm sorry.
The worst case.
Sorry about that.
I know that's where your mind usually goes.
No,
best case scenario, they all break down.
Best case scenario is they win 48 games and pull an upset in the first round.
I'm with you. I think if they somehow win a playoff series, that to me would be that would be a good ending for this team. And who knows? Maybe they could do more. I just don't really see it at this point. But I think you're right that most likely, and to me, the worst case scenario would be tickets go up, there's a lot of interest, and on nationally televised games, there's more airtime for the guys on the bench than the guys on the court. Basically what the end of last year looked like. LeBron's sitting there with Steph and Draymond and Porzingis and Horford and Kerr, and we're watching Malachi Leones and Nate Williams. You know what I mean?
Yes. That's the problem. And I'll that's what I would worry. I mean, so you're really going to put together a team that has Steph Curry, I'll say it again, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Al Horford, Porzingis, LeBron.
Yep.
That's 5 guys who will absolutely, positively have to be load managed.
Yeah.
Okay. We haven't even talked about Butler and Moody, who are going to miss large chunks of the season. I'm starting to think they may have to do something with Moody because they literally don't have the luxury of waiting on him and not having a productive player in his spot. So I see a situation where you're right. We're going to see Pat Spencer, and we're going to see Santos, and we're going to see Post, and then we're going to see LeBron and Steph on the bench kind of laughing and saying, well, it didn't work. But
But also, too, okay, so, but if that happens, I don't think there's a big risk in it, to be honest.
Okay, what if, but
it's a 1 year, $15 million deal.
Is it? Well, it's going to be a 1 year, $15 million deal.
What, does he get a minority stake?
No. It could be 2 for 30.
Okay. Yeah, the second year might be an option like the other guys.
So if next year you get LeBron and your team gets decimated, like I would expect it to be decimated, well, guess what? Steph's under contract the following year. LeBron's under contract the following year. Draymond's under contract the following year. Who knows about Butler? So if you can prove to me this is all a 1 year thing, then I would be more on board with it. But here's the bottom line. If you get LeBron, it sounds to me like it means an extra year for Draymond, and that means we've got 2 more years of having LeBron, of having Draymond, of having Steph have to be the carriers of the team. That's the other thing. They have to be carriers at their age, which I don't think they can do anymore.
Yeah, but there weren't any carriers out there for them to get anyways. I mean, okay, let's say they were able to, they didn't go after LeBron and they wanted Colin Sexton and Quentin Grimes.
Okay.
Is that going to make you feel any better about the Warriors next year or the year after that?
We'll obviously have to compare it to what they look like with LeBron James. I mean, I always ask Guru this. So you think there's no scenario in which the Warriors get LeBron James and they win 37 games again? He would say, oh, Steiny, no chance. Well, I think there's a chance. Well, I absolutely think there's a chance.
There's a chance they could win less than 37 games because some of those guys aren't available. But, if this runner's knee with Steph is real, then none of it matters anyways. I think the Warriors are trying to make the best of a bad situation. And the bad situation was winning 37 games last year and getting bounced by Phoenix and not making the playoffs.